Thank you. Go? Okay. As Arlen said, my name is Maritza, and I work with Eaton. How many of you know what Eaton does? By a show of hands, okay? Not many of you, right? I don't expect you to know. Your husbands probably do. How many of you work in the business with your husband today? Currently, that kind of gives me an idea. Okay, so a few of you, okay. I've been with Eaton for about 3.5 years, and I've been part of the HTG partnership for, this is my second year, my full second year. And one of the reasons that I chose HTG to partner with is I know Arlen and I know Scott and I know Christy from a previous life. I used to work at ConnectWise. So I do have a lot of history there, and I knew at that point a lot of what Arlen was trying to do when he was building the memberships in the groups. And when I had an opportunity, I said, I really want to be a part of this. You know, and we've had much success with this community. We have probably 40 to 50% of the members in the community are part of our partner program. So that's one of the things that I did the first year, was really recruit people, let them know who was Eaton, what do we do. And then this past year, now I try to get them to buy, right? So first I recruit them and then educate them and then get them to start purchasing and transacting with us. And I'll go a little bit further as to why HTG is kind of critical for a vendor, not just myself, but for a lot of the vendors that are here today. So this is a quick quiz little question. How many vendors do you all think are part of HTG? Just, that's not all of them up there. I just picked a few logos up there that you might know. 75. Anybody else? A little bit lower. 40, 56. So there's 56 vendors that are part of the partnership with HTG. And a lot of these logos up there you will recognize, right? And there's some probably like mine that you don't know. And it's the same thing for your spouses as well too. There's some vendors that they recognize, they do business continually with them, and then there's others that they haven't had an opportunity to come across, or maybe it's a vendor that's not necessarily a fit for the solution or what they're trying to present. But that's what's the really good thing with working with Ken and Arlen, is that they look at the vendors that are out there in the sphere, and they kind of actually pick who they feel would be a good fit for your spouses. So that's kind of how that works. So let me tell you what Eaton does, okay, before I go for this side. We sell UPSs, battery backups. So when the power goes out, we sell them from the small desktop, if you have a, on all the way to the large data center, big mammoth UPSs. So that's what we do. We possibly, I would say, we have about 10% share in the space. So a lot of our goal as a manufacturer is a branding, because our competitor owns 80% of the space. So we're constantly doing a lot of, like Arlen says, a lot of creative things, right? You know, there's things that as a small vendor from a branding perspective that we have to do to kind of be top of mind and to get people to remember us. So when you head over to the hospitality area this afternoon by the registration, you'll see I have a big hospitality area with balloons, and there's snacks for them. So as they're checking in today, we do a lot of activities to start engaging and continually interacting with them. Okay? So I wanted to share a little bit about the channel. How many of you guys have heard your husbands talk about the channel? So, okay. So I wanted, I don't know how much you know about the channel, but basically, as manufacturers, it is hard for us to sell directly to an end user, to an end client, to a business, right? So what we do is we, as manufacturers, we leverage what we call the two-tier channel. So most of your spouses are purchasing from distributors, right? And the distributors in turn purchase from us. There's 2 distributors that are here as well that are partners with HTG, Ingram and Synex. So you might have heard about those as well. So basically, as a manufacturer, we provide our products to a distributor. They warehouse them for us, and they also are a way for your spouses to consolidate products and consolidate purchases, and they also give them the credit lines. So those are things as a manufacturer that we are not able to do, so that's why we leverage the distributors in that way. Okay, so they are definitely our conduit to get to their businesses, but at the same time, we don't want to remove ourselves as a manufacturer too far away from the business, because that is where we get a lot of feedback and we actually can engage a lot further with our partners. You'll hear we always use the word partner. Partner it means so many things. So to us, if we have a reseller that joins our partner program, they're our partner, right? But then, like Arlen just says, you know, as vendors, we're partners of HTG. So we all use that word, I think, kind of loosely. So any questions about that chain, the two-tier model? Okay. And then the end users, most of your companies are selling to businesses, small businesses, right? But you can also be selling to a, you know, commercial end user as well, too. Arlen, feel free to jump in anytime, added. Okay, so when I first started, I said, why did I select HTG to partner with? And as a vendor, it is very easy for us as a vendor to go to a CDW, a Best Buy, right? Those are huge companies, and it's very easy for us to go in there and start working with them. But when we want to try to get to a small, medium business, when you hear of the SMB space, that's usually a business that has 250 seats or less. So meaning they have 250 computers or less, and that's mainly what your spouse's service today is, the SMB space. It is very hard for a manufacturer like us to get into that space, right? Your spouses have the personal relationships, they know the verticals that their clients are in, they're very much in touch and in tune with their customer, and we leverage that as a vendor to help us get and sell into that space. And that's mainly the reason why we selected HTG to partner with and to educate the resellers in HTG. So from a vendor perspective, when we look at investing our dollars in marketing, we invest a lot of our money in marketing. We probably spend most of our money trying to determine and capture that space, which is a space your spouses are selling into. And it gives you an idea. Okay. So as Arlen said, there's nights that your husbands are at dinners or you can't get in touch with them. It's because they're out with vendors, right? And a lot of us as vendors, we understand how critical it is for them during the day that they've got to be in their business. So really a lot of the times that we can engage and interact with them in a social is when we do a dinner, okay? We try to do lunch and learns, that's another way. We'll do like breakfasts. So anything that will bring us into their business to meet their technicians, meet their salespeople. Those are the things that we are engaging with our partners as well. And basically these are kind of our 5 areas that as vendors we want to focus on. It's funny, awareness is number 1, right? We want the channel to be aware of our products, and we do that through your customers. So when I was looking for a little picture for awareness, this came up. I'm like, oh, breast cancer, so timing. But basically, that is really what we need, is to have them bring us the awareness to their customers. And then the other thing is recruitment. All of us vendors, from Cisco to Eaton to Microsoft to all of us, we all have partner programs. And there's a lot of components as part of the partner program, so we're really big on recruiting resellers into our partner program. And then enablement, it is our responsibility, although they're buying from that distributor that I said, it is our responsibility to make sure that they have the right tools and the support from us in order to be successful in selling our products and to be educated. So that's our responsibility as well too. And then sales execution. We spend a lot of our SG&A as it relates from a cost perspective with making sure we have the right sales resources. Your spouse's business goes very fast. It's moving very fast, okay? And they're selling a lot of different products. They not necessarily don't have the technical expertise in every type of product that they sell. So they rely on the support that us vendors give them. So for us, it's very key for any vendor to make sure that we are like a phone call away, or if someone needs us to go on site to go, share and do an audit or something of their client's business, we have to be available for them. So that is very key. And you'll see a lot of resellers are even willing to pay a little bit more money for the product as long as they know they're getting the right support from the vendor, because that is definitely crucial in that perspective. And then sales and service delivery, kind of the same thing. Let's say they purchase a product, we help them select what product they needed to purchase, but then it's time to deliver it, they have to install it. Same thing, if a problem arises, they rely on the vendor to basically help them, through the issue and get support for their technicians as well too. So I kind of pulled this out. Mutually beneficial partnerships are built on a solid foundation. We all want a piece of your husbands. Okay, how do I say? As vendors, we do. We all do. Okay. But it's their job as business owners to determine what's right for their business, right? Are we as vendors a good fit for their business? Because they wear so many hats, right? They really have to be selective in assuring that they are choosing the right vendor that's going to partner with them for what's important for them. We want to sell product, right? But it's what's really important for them and how we fit in their business model. So as vendors, and this really applies for a majority of the vendors, this is what we look at when we say, all right, we want to go into the channel. These are some areas that we focus on as vendors. So if you kind of think about this, so before we decide who we're going to recruit into our partner program, we basically determine what is the DNA of the company that we want to partner with, right? And from an Eaton perspective, partnering with an SMB space is very critical to us. So we've already selected. And why did we select the SMB space? Remember I told you my competitor has 80% share, right? Well, they don't spend a lot of the time with the smaller guys, right? So they're not giving the right support. So that's where we felt we had a really route to market. That was like our niche for us to provide the support there. And then we also determine what's the value proposition, right? We can't just, it takes a lot for your spouses to bring in a new vendor, right? If they're used to selling another product, their salespeople are already trained, their technicians are already trained on another product. So we understand how much time it takes for them to really get up and going and get familiar with a new product. So that's why, as business owners, they need to be really careful who they select and who they partner with. So I've got to make sure that my value proposition is definitely compelling reason for them to even look and spend the resources on that. Then the other thing we do, and this is before we even start selling, we have to develop a program. So like most vendors, we all have partner programs, right? And we just need to make sure that all the components of the partner program add value to the reseller. So some components to the partner program, I'll give you an example, is front-end discounts. So, if they join the partner program, they get a specific discount. If they do maybe additional training modules, we'll give them a greater discount. So that's a huge component, is the discount. Then we also have, we're really big, is marketing development funds. So if your husband wants to do a appreciation event for an end client, training for their salespeople, they want to do a email blast, a postcard mailing. So we have those dollars available for them to request those dollars from us. So they don't have to use those dollars from their own business to help market their products. And all we ask is that somehow in the messaging that the vendor is showcased in some way or another. And then also we assign them an dedicated inside sales support person. So those are definitely components of the program. And then mainly all vendors, we also have online education training and modules that they can take so they can become much more familiar with the products as well too. And then lastly, once we've developed and done all that, then we go into the recruitment mode. Now we're going after the members. And honestly, like I said, this is my full second year with HTG. The first year, it was all about recruitment. Who am I, right? You know, kind of getting them recruited. If I haven't recruited an HTG member in a year, right, it's like they maybe weren't really interested. So we spent this past second year is enabling them, you know, making sure that they understand my tools, you know, so that they can start purchasing and transacting with us. So it really is a plan. I mean, we have grown year over year. I kind of explained too, I have 50% of the members recruited. So I'm at this conference. Recruitment is not my key objective. It's my secondary objective. So you'll see that I have these buttons here. You know, are you powered by Eaton? So basically our partners will be wearing these buttons, and it'll spark a conversation with a member that maybe isn't. But our primary objective is to start getting them, enabling them, getting them educated, and getting them to transact with us. We have grown over 300% year over year in revenue in this group. So we're very happy with the performance of the members, et cetera. So basically, as vendors, these are the goals that we have. If your husband's business is not successful, we're not successful. So our goal as vendors is to really educate, enable, make sure they have the right tools for them to be successful as business owners. And then, of course, we're always looking for growth. Everybody's looking for growth in their business. And then as vendors, we are aware of a lot of the new technologies that are coming out, a lot of the ways to go to market, et cetera. So it is our job, although it might not be related to my product specifically, that battery backup that I sell, but if it's related on how my partners have to go to market and have to change their business model, we as vendors have to support that. And so you've been hearing the cloud, right? So as vendors, it's our job to educate and help our solution providers get into that cloud. And then lastly, you know, for the last couple of years, a lot of these small businesses have just been surviving. You know, our goal is to help them thrive. And once again, it's not necessarily, we understand if we make a small business owner successful, in the long term, it's a payback for us, and it'll make us successful as well, too. Okay? And that's all I had. Any questions for me? No? No questions? Oh, the question is, what is the top ask that we get from partners? So like related to marketing, what are some crazy things that they want to do? So one of the things that comes to mind is we have a partner that is in Nebraska, and they have a big tailgate party every year for their accounts. And it's the Nebraska Huskers, for those of you in Nebraska. Cornhuskers, right? Yeah, Cornhuskers. He brought the bull, because they were playing last year against the Texas Bull or something. So he actually put a marketing fund request to actually use money for the bull. But he's like, I will put the Eaton logo on the bull. I'm like, okay. So those are kind of things. But you know what? They know what's going to catch the interest to their customers. So we want them to come with ideas, you know. I mean, we have our own and a lot of cookie cutter because we have so many partners. Imagine a vendor like a Microsoft or a Cisco, how many partners they have. So there is a lot of cookie cutter, but you know, we want people to be creative and come forward with ideas and stuff. Okay.
What's the size of the channel? What do you guys consider the ocean? How many partners are out there?
Right now, I'm thinking the last count we had is about 250,000, I think was the count of vendors, of resellers in this channel. In our program, we have 2,000 in our program. But of those 2,000, we have maybe 1,000 that are transacting with us. So, you know, as a vendor, you want to first try to cast that wide net, but then it's like, well, you don't really have the right mix, you know, and then you kind of tailor back, you know. So, all right, ladies, well, thank you very much for your time, and I will see you this afternoon for the wine and cheese.